You're watching Nike EYBL Scholastic at the Bob McKillop Invitational on League Ready. Beautiful Brookville, New York, in the shadow of the city that never sleeps. And we have a juicy matchup. First place, CIA Bella Vista against perennial powerhouse IMG. Alongside the great Trey Demps, I'm Sam Brief. Happy Friday to all of you. And Trey, a treat in our first game of the McKillop Invite. Real contrasting styles with these two.
Yeah, you have an IMG team that loves to get up and down. They want the game in the 70s. And you have a Bella Vista team that's a defensive-minded, hard-nosed team. They want the game in the 50s. So it's going to be interesting to see that which team imposes their game on this one.
Number 5 and number 8 in the national rankings. And it might surprise a lot of fans who's at the top of the EYBL Scholastic right now. Bella Vista with just one loss. But a huge test this weekend as they face IMG today and then Oak Hill tomorrow. Time to dive into our starting lineup, starting with the visiting team, which is Phoenix-based Bella Vista with a 6-1 record and a lot of eyes on their point guard, Trey, and Miles Sadler.
Yeah, Bella Vista goes as Sadler goes. He is the head of the snake, averaging almost 14 points per game, 4 assists per game. And these have a bounce-back game, though, because their last one against Mount Vernon, 5 points, 1 of 13 from the field.
And the head of the snake on the flip side for Sean McAloon's IMG team, it's also their point guard, and it's the guy who leads the EYBL in points, minutes, assists. It's Darius Acuff Jr.
Yeah, Darius Acuff Jr. is probably the best player in the EYBL Scholastic League, and averaging almost 25 per game, coming off a game against Link where he had 34 points off 11 of 23 shooting. He gets him up.
And he's joined in the front court. His front court counterpart, Sadiq White, also a stud. He's bound for Syracuse and shooting over 70% from the floor.
Yeah, in their last game against Link, he got to the free throw line 8 times. He's a downhill driver, extremely physical on the offensive end.
Statistically, this one sets up as, like we said, just a real clash of styles. In a game like this, where do your eyes go where you have one team that's so big, strong, defensive-minded, and then one that's a high-powered offensive machine?
Well, I think it's the guard play. Who's going to dictate the tempo and the style of this game? And I think that's what's going to be really important for both of these teams respectively. If you're Miles Sadler, you want to slow down the tempo of this game, play Bella Vista basketball, get this game in the 50s, and then if you're Darius Acuff, you want to get that ball out in transition and try to speed it up.
Brandon Rosenthal leading his Bella Vista team, someone who came from the G League ranks as an assistant with the Santa Cruz Warriors, says his team will not look past anyone in the EYBL, and there's no reason to look past IMG. This is a perennial powerhouse from down in Bradenton, Florida, and led by the 7th-year head coach, Sean McAloon. Told we're dealing with a bit of a scoreboard issue, so refs will figure that out. IMG rocking the light blue and 2 of their best in this picture. Sadiq White bound for Syracuse and Darius Acuff to play for John Calipari and Arkansas.
Yeah, Sadiq White chose Syracuse over Alabama, Arkansas, Georgetown, Texas, Tennessee, amongst others. In the current era and climate of college basketball, that's impressive to get all those offers as a high school kid.
You see the climate changing too, right? I mean, NIL changing everything with recruiting, and these guys racking up tons of offers. And I think we got the scoreboard figured out. So ready for action. IMG in the light blue and Bella Vista in the black. Again, good to have you with us. Sam Brief, Trey Demps, and our wonderful crew with you as we come down the home stretch of the Nike EYBL Scholastic. Chipotle Nationals looming in a bit. But first, the Bob McKillop Invitational, and a juicy one between Bella Vista and IMG. Sadler starting with it, and our matchup to watch, Sadler against Acuff. They're a on each other. Here's Jayon Pitt bullying his way in. Pitt, the shimmy, throws it up there and fouled right away by Kareem Stagg.
It was a good job of Pitt staying patient, kind of dribbled himself into no man's land, but utilized the pivot foot, worked his way around, and was able to draw the foul.
Shoots at just 42% from the stripe, but drills the first. Pitt, out of Toronto, he was a member of Team Canada at the under-17 level, the under-17 World Cup a couple years ago. And Bella Vista with a nice start inside.
I like Bella Vista going to this 1-2-2 to try to slow down the tempo of the game.
Quinones with a miss following his shot. Goes down low for White, who just gets it over Diem for two.
But that is the downside of going to a zone, is that you're cross-matched oftentimes. And so that time, Bella Vista didn't find someone to box out, and the Crusaders made him pay.
Diem from the elbow left it short. And here come the Ascenders. Acuff with a mismatch, and Tucum on him. These two teams feeling each other out. Acuff, the fake, three-point shot, not necessarily his strength. More of a driving guard as White misses a line drive, and a couple tip-backs lead to the putback for Stagg.
Now that one, IMG was a little bit perimeter oriented, didn't get a paint touch to get into your offense a little bit earlier, but nonetheless Stagg made up for it with the tip in.
Tucum finds Diem. Big lanky forward out of Senegal. Now Noah George, step back, three is good. First triple of the day, courtesy of Noah George, and got to make sure the hair's in check.
That was a good read from George. The defender went underneath the screen. That's the best time to come off that pick and roll and shoot the pull-up three.
Here goes Acuff, looking to cook. Acuff off the glass, and Pitt can't wrangle in the rebound. So first shot for the Arkansas-bound guard, a miss. As George pops it again, off the glass, no, and then out of bounds off of Acuff. So we'll stay here. Our first three-pointer of the day was courtesy of the man with more hair than anyone, Noah George.
Yeah, it's doing a good job of reading the ball screen, go underneath. You have to keep the defense honest and be able to knock down that one. As we see him again getting downhill to drive with a sweet finish, the right hand.
Teardrop for George gives him 4. Junior out of Malton, Ontario, and a quick response from Jamal Jones.
I love that set in transition where you get that cross screen, you get the guard going downhill, and so if he trails you, it's a good read there, attacking straight off and getting to the bucket.
Tucum right on that baseline. A lot of size for Bella Vista. All these guys so lanky as they get it out to their point guard. Sadler splits the D. Ooh. Sadler, a thing of beauty.
Man, how about that read off the pick and roll? It's a hard hedge coverage. You split the pick and roll, get around the help side defenders. What a sweet finish from Sadler.
Stagg bullies in, was fouled. I don't think they're going to count the shot. So he'll keep it here for IMG, and this was picture perfect.
Just such a sweet move, and see why such a highly ranked prospect is. We see the dunk there from Stagg.
So Stagg's got 4. And now Bella Vista looking for the response. Pitt spinning and lost control. Guilty party on the foul is Felipe Quinones. I know you're eager to watch Miles Sadler. That was a highlight reel play. He's sort of a throwback, bulldog type point guard.
And a little bit under-recruited. I mean, you look at his offer list. It's Weber State, Cal State, Northridge. I mean, Arizona State and Cal are on there as well, but maybe hasn't gotten the recognition that maybe he feels like he should have at this point of his career as a junior.
averaging 14 points, 4 assists a game. We'll see if he skyrockets up the recruiting boards. And that's out of bounds off Austin Good, who's fresh off the bench. So IMG ball.
See this full court pressure again from Bella Vista, a little 1-2-2 look.
Bella Vista, defensive masterclass this year. They allow just over 50 points a game and just 25% from 3. The best defensive team in the EYBL as Stagg gets his second dunk. Very quick the other way. Pitt picks through and steals a bucket.
Paint points are going to be big in this one, as both these teams do not shoot the ball great. And so I think as a defender, you have to understand that and make the opposing team be more perimeter oriented.
Open 3 for Jones. Left it strong, offensive board, and then it's taken away by Pitt. 1-on-4, pretty wild. Austin Good misses a gimme, and it's out of bounds off IMG. Kareem Stagg has been very active early. Team on his back for IMG, and we got a 2-point game with a timeout in New York.
Sure, I was the first pick, the rookie to watch, and the back-to-back All-Star. But to get even better, I had to get real with myself. I got real about how I showed up. I got real about how I trained. I got real about what I ate. The results, something about this season, man, it just feels different.
Nike EYBL Scholastic is brought to you by Nike. This is Winning Basketball, and delivered by Chipotle. Real ingredients, real flavor. Chipotle, for real. 1-point game at the Bob McKillop Invitation here on the campus of Long Island Lutheran, and in a battle between a defensive-minded Bella Vista team and an offensively explosive IMG squad. We're seeing a lot of zone so far from Bella Vista.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's kind of stood out is how easily Stagg, who right now is 3 of 3, 6 points, has been able to get opportunities in the painted area. Because one of the things that I was looking at coming into this one was how IMG was going to score over the size and length of Bella Vista. Done a really good job thus far. Something that Bella Vista has to do a better job of on the defensive end.
I look at this Bella Vista team. You've got Diem at 6'10", Tukum 6'8", Maker 7 foot, yep. Mohamed Silla 6'10". This is a huge team, plus 10 on the boards. Second best rebounding margin in the EYBL. Here's Aginaldo Neto. He just checked in. Drives in and puts it in. Too easy.
There's a great hesitation from Neto as he came off that pick and roll. He hesitated and made it look like he wasn't going to make a play, maybe kick it out or throw it to the big, and the big man left and the lane cleared open for him to get downhill.
Acuff gets stripped. Back the other way, Austin Good for the flush.
And that's the defensive intensity that this Bella Vista team brings. Ball pressure, guys who can get out in the perimeter and guards. Great steal for the finish.
The second turnover for IMG. Down on the ground, Foster has Osaruyi on him, and then a timeout called. So we're seeing that Bella Vista pressure.
Whenever you can have a big or your guards that can get out and guard multiple positions and trap the basketball like that. It makes the opposing team uncomfortable, and it's a great steal from Good. 6'7", get out in transition, finish it with the slam.
Bella Vista's defense, tenacious. How would you describe the identity of them defensively? Because I see so many different looks on every possession.
Well, they have guys that are comfortable guarding out on the perimeter. I mean, you even look on that last possession with Osarui. He was out there on the perimeter, trapping the pick and rolls, making things difficult. And so they have guys that have athleticism, that have versatility, that have high basketball IQ. That what you would see of a college team. And so that makes it really hard. And that's going to be hard for Acuff to get it going and keep up with that 25-point-per-game average.
And here's Acuff, swallowed by 2 defenders. Just got it away to Beamer. And Acuff can't hit at the buzzer. Offensive board, Jones. There's a foul down low. Looks like it'll go against Neto, his first.
And the biggest key when teams are trapping the pick and roll like Bella Vista is having good spacing and having an outlet pass available. And the bigs have to do a good job of short rolling.
There's a fall away for Acuff. He can shoot over anything.
That time Bella Vista didn't send him into the screen, so Acuff was able to refuse it and get to the baseline for that sweet pull-up.
His mid-range game among the best in the country as White comes up with a steal. Back the other way, Foster. Down low, Jones a bobble. Got it back. And then throws it into trouble. That's the 3rd IMG turnover and an easy bucket for Neto. Acuff looking for the answer. Acuff pulls up and drills the 3.
His tempo and pace, he's so calm, cool, and collective, but he has that strong frame where you have to respect him as a driver and a shooter.
And then Sadler with a teardrop response.
Man, the skill and guard play of this game, you feel like you're watching a Power 5 game at the collegiate level.
Well, Acuff's off to play in the SEC for Arkansas. And whipped that one in there, tipped out of bounds. Off of Bella Vista. Darius Acuff Jr., the #1 point guard in the class of 25. You mentioned Power 5. When he is at the Power 5 level, what's his best asset?
Well, I think his ability to score at 3 levels and to be able to score off the bounce as well. I mean, you could put the ball in his hands like this, and he can make something happen.
And he gets it out to Foster for 3. White the board, White the putback. So, hockey assist for Acuff.
And because Acuff causes so much attention, you have to be in help side at all times. You kind of forget your box out assignments because when he has the ball on the floor, all eyes are on him. So Bella Vista has to do a better job of having awareness for the ball handler, but then putting a body on somebody for the box outs.
A foul for Neto, and he hits the first free throw. Aginaldo Neto, he was part of the NBA Academy Games down in Atlanta in July. Great opportunity for the Angolan junior. So 1 of 2. Here comes IMG. Acuff, so methodical. Behind the back, the step back. A little strong. And foul on White on the rebound.
So what they're doing offensively is they have a double stagger, which is a double pin down going on the opposite side to keep the weak side occupied as we see it again. And then now Acuff has the ability to attack downhill while that's going on the weak side and wasn't able to knock that one in.
Maybe refining that three-point shot, part of what'll take him past the next level.
Yeah, 13 of 49, 27% on the season in the EYBL Scholastic League. That's probably the one area of his game, especially the catch and shoot, that he can improve upon.
A lob down low for Osaruyi, out of bounds, off the sophomore's hands. I know that's a player you're excited to watch today. Paul Osaruyi, a golden future.
Oh, man, I mean, he's a sophomore, 6'9", can handle the ball like a guard, can shoot it a little bit. He has all the potential in the world.
Here goes Acuff, rumbling downhill. Out to White. Acuff at the buzzer. It's off, and Bella Vista with a dominant first quarter, leading pretty much wire to wire. These Bears can play defense.
Yeah, they picked it up after the first 4 minutes of the first quarter. I thought the IMG Senders, kind of had their way on the offensive end, but Bella Vista definitely picked it up defensively, trapped the ball screens, made things hard for Acuff. Credit to them for changing the rhythm and tempo on the defensive end.
And incredibly efficient 8 of 11 shooting for Bella Vista as a team. All right, let's take a look at tonight's Chipotle player spotlight, and it's the 5-star point guard headed to Arkansas, Darius Acuff Jr. We've told you a lot about his game. Let's tell you about what he orders at Chipotle. Looks like a brown rice chicken bowl with a lot of dairy and no veggies.
You know what, though? I like the brown rice.
Yes.
How about, you know,
a little more fiber.
A little bit more fiber.
Yep.
You know, lower on the carbs, I believe. I'm not a health guy, but I mean, I know it's no vegetables, but I can at least respect that the brown rice is there.
Yeah, I go brown rice. I'm sure you do.
I don't.
I'm
so
sorry. You respect it, but you don't. You don't do it.
Yeah,
okay. What do you go? Chicken?
I go brown rice at home, not at Chipotle though. Okay. Chipotle's you gotta enjoy. You gotta splurge. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I hear you complimenting Acuff for the brown rice, but you prefer the splurge of the white.
Yeah, my wife goes brown rice, but I can't do it.
Well, opposites attract. All right. Well, we're on to the second quarter. Whether it's white rice or brown rice, we welcome you as an offensive foul goes against IMG. It's a moving screen tray on Kareem Stagg.
Well, they were trying to set that stagger, no pun intended there, where you get the double screen going on the opposite side, and Bella Vista did a beautiful job of fighting through and completely blowing up that action.
Sadler from the elbow. Miles Sadler cooking to start with 6 points.
Yeah, just taking advantage of the drop coverage of IMG. Came off that thing, aggressive, ready to score and knock down the mid-range.
Here goes Acuff. Beamer in the corner. Missed his second three. Foster finds White. No. White gobbled up and somehow squirms that in.
Bella Vista is usually the team that's really good on the offensive glass, almost averaging 11 per game. But thus far, IMG has had a lot of opportunities crashing the glass.
By rebounding margin, IMG has been the worst rebounding team in the EYBL. Bella Vista second best, but so far, IMG has doubled the Bears on the rebounds. Love when a script gets flipped.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes you have to do that. When you have a team that's physical, you have to play their game a little bit.
Sadler, the step back three in the corner, and it tips out of bounds off of Bella Vista.
It's a nice design play. The sideline out of bounds. You get a pin down for Sadler, one of your better shooters, just wasn't able to knock it down.
And here goes Beamer. And Beamer against Sadler. This was one of your matchups to watch. Osaruyi switches onto him. Beamer inside, and a foul on Osaruyi. Might have put his hand in the cookie jar. First foul on the sophomore.
Rokeem Green, who I'm high on as well, made that whole possession and a few other possessions extremely tough for Acuff. He's denying him the ball. He's not allowing him to come off of anything, to give him a lot of credit for making things difficult for Acuff.
And now Beamer, a wide open layup. The sea just parted. Bella Vista holding on to a 1-point lead here at the Bob McKillop Invitational. Pocket picked, Sadiq White generates a steal. Quickly, the other way, Peck is blocked. It's Jayon Pitt on the rejection.
In Bella Vista's last game to Mount Vert, 9 assists and 16 turnovers. So as good as this team is defensively, offensive efficiency's definitely been a struggle, taking care of the basketball. That's how you allow other teams to get easy baskets on the other end.
So far, just 1 assist on 9 made baskets for Bella Vista. Here come the Bears. It's Pitt all by himself, the big man for 2.
He's going to be one of those guys at the collegiate level. It's going to translate right away. He has such great size. He's agile offensively. He can play on the perimeter. You could put him on different spots defensively as well.
Here he is on A-cup.
I mean, staying in front, too.
And it's Peck in the corner. A miss. Foul on the rebound. And they get an ascender for it. So we're going to Bella Vista. How about the job Pitt did on A-cup there?
Yeah, and you look at Pitt's numbers, averaging a little under 7 per game, 6 rebounds. To me, he's a guy that can do more, especially on the offensive end. He should be a double-figure scorer, but it's just a matter of finding your opportunities and doing your best to try to go up against unset defenses where you can get the ball and nobody's going to want to put their body in front when a 6'7" guy is coming downhill in transition.
No thank you. Step back for Green. Hit everything and falls.
I mean, Sam, this is a guy, his last 3 games, 13 points per game, 15 minutes per game. Get that man some more minutes.
A-cuff with a running floater. Yeah, Green very quietly has perhaps been the most efficient player in the EYBL. Almost a point a minute. Pitt looking for him. Green out to good. Bella Vista looking to crack through this perimeter D. George, sort of a wild shot, falls into the hands of Sadiq White. IMG's been trailing virtually wire to wire. Acuff working on Tucum. Good hold here. Acuff just throws it off the glass. Rebounded by Pitt. But they might get Jayon Pitt for a foul, as we saw White take a tumble.
And I can speak from experience. When you have a guy that's bigger than you, but that can move so quick laterally like Tucum can, it puts you as an offensive player in such a vulnerable spot because you don't see where you have an advantage. And so on that one, Acuff was kind of caught over dribbling and just ended up throwing up a tough floater.
Acuff, the step back. Boarded by Diem. Right, these guys can block your vision with those wingspans. And Tucum got stripped, but a foul will go against White. So as an offensive player, how do you combat that? You're a little shifty guard and you've got wingspan.
You need screens. Because, I mean, the reality is when you're going up against guys who can move their feet that are big, it's hard to go one-on-one, and Acuff is a really good one-on-one player. He actually shoots 50% on one-on-one opportunities in the Scholastic League, but you're going up against athletes like that. You need screens off the ball and on the ball.
Acuff rips the glass on a Green miss, and Green sticking on him. Acuff makes his move and out of bounds off of Diem.
This is going to be a good learning experience for Acuff. You have to understand, even the best guys in the NBA, college, they understand strengths and weaknesses, and you can't try to, within pride, prove that you can beat these guys off the bounce. You have to revert to utilizing off-ball screens and utilizing your teammates a little bit more.
Here he goes again against a bigger defender. A 3 in and out. He's only hit 1 of those today as Sadler zooms down the floor. And now Neto into the corner. Tucum a 3. That's off. Both teams are cold from downtown, a combined 2 for 15. Sadiq White just takes it himself, the hook off, and the rebound to Tucum.
Both these teams aren't very good shooting. A combined 9 made threes per game from each of these teams.
Down low, it's a miss for Diem. White the board. Second quarter has been ugly offensively. Acuff weaving through. Quinones now rumbles in and kisses it off the glass.
Great job of Quinones playing off the catch there. They double team Acuff, and we see a steal here.
Darius Acuff by himself. IMG takes the lead.
And that's how IMG is going to continue to stay in this game, is creating turnovers, tough opportunities for Bella Vista, and getting out in transition.
9 points so far for Darius Acuff. Step back for Sadler. And just 1 of 7 from downtown are the Bears. Acuff so methodical, with Neto all over him. Acuff resets. Nice flip. Quinones, 4-3.
Because there's so much attention on Acuff, Quinones did a good job of setting that screen, but slipping out of there, drawing some confusion between the two defenders, and able to knock it down.
It's a 9-0 run for IMG in the last 3:15. Get a steal, give it to your man. Off the glass, Ascenders are on top.
Brisket is back at Chipotle. Seasoned, smoked, seared, spiced, sauced, bold, and guacced. It's a whole new kind of brisket done the Chipotle way.
So how would you describe the chicken to someone who had never tasted it?
Literally melt in your mouth tender. We don't have a freezer, you know? It's almost like a farmer's market. When you walk into the restaurant, you should hear the sizzle that you're hearing right now. Just sends all those waves up to your mouth.
You're making me hungry.
Less than a month from the EYBL Scholastic Tournament. First weekend of March, and it'll be juicy with the winner headed to Fishers, Indiana, and granted access to the Chipotle Nationals. Can't wait for this one.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these teams are, you know, pretty even across the board. I mean, maybe outside of Orangeville and Legacy, I mean, all these teams have talent. Not that the other two don't, but I mean, depth, and could definitely vie for a championship.
In the corner, mid-ranger good for Tucum. They'll call that a 3, foot behind the line. So that ends a 9-0 IMG run. We'll see if Bella Vista can generate some momentum.
It's going to start on the defensive end for Bella Vista.
Tucum on White, and there's a foul as Acuff went flying.
I've just been so impressed with the attention to detail of Acuff. I mean, it really looks like Bella Vista on the defensive end prepared for this game like a collegiate team in terms of, okay, Darius Acuff is a 25-point per game scorer. If we can take him out or make his life hard as another turnover, we're going to have a good chance to win the game.
Noah George for 3. Rebound to White. That's 5 rebounds for the Syracuse-bound Sadiq White. And here he is, driving in. Nice hesitation. Got stripped, but Jamal Jones there for recovery.
And Sadiq White put the ball down. At that size, you got to keep the ball up. Fortunately for them, though, his teammate was there to clean it up.
George into the corner. Sadler. George, a 3 is good. Noah George ties it up with his second triple.
That was a good job of Sadler. Realized pretty early in that drive that he wasn't going to have a scoring opportunity. Shifted his eyes forward and was able to find the shooter.
And Noah George with a whole host of offers out of Malton, Ontario. Fight for the ball, and a foul goes against Bella Vista. They'll get Alou Diem. Well, Trey, you mentioned, looks like Bella Vista prepared for this like a college team. What goes into that game plan with a player like Acuff on the other side?
We got to understand his sweet spots. Where does he like the ball? And Acuff's a guy that loves to play isolation basketball at the top of the key. So you have to guard, you have to understand his movements, and you have to stay down on all his shiftiness. And then you got to understand they run a lot of stagger screens. So you got to be prepared for those and fighting through those as well. And they've done a great job just across the board with every action that IMG has thrown of being prepared for it.
And they've been prepared. Acuff still with 9 points, but just 1 of 5 from downtown, so struggling a bit to shoot. And with Bella Vista in the bonus, we've got free throws for Miles Sadler.
And you always say that you want to have a scorer's point total equal their field goal attempts, or had the field goal attempts be higher than the point total. Right now, Acuff has 11 field goal attempts and 9 points.
So that tells you Bella Vista doing a nice job.
Yes,
Right.
yes, it's making them high volume.
He shot 11 of IMG's 32 field goal attempts. And now out to Jones. Good, all over him. Back to Acuff now. Acuff stuck in the corner. Gets it up for 3 and misses his 5th from downtown, but another IMG offensive board. And now chased down to the backcourt. Trey Beamer out to a wide open Jones, and he can't hit. White's blocked. It's a foul on Osaruyi, number 2.
I think Trey Beamer could do a better job of taking the pressure off of Acuff to make every play. I think he has to demand the basketball because he's more than capable of being a playmaker on the offensive end. But Bella Vista, coming into this game, has been a really good rebounding team, plus 10 on the boards. Done a poor job. Probably the only thing that they've done a poor job of in this game in terms of giving up so many offensive rebounds to IMG.
They come in plus 10 on the boards. Today they are minus 10. They've given up 11 offensive rebounds.
And IMG is minus 9 on average. So, I mean,
it's the opposite of what we'd expect. But that's why they play the games, right?
Exactly.
These stats don't write the story. A little more size for IMG as Peck replaces White. And just under 20 seconds left. Second quarter here at the Bob McKillop Invitational on the campus of Long Island Lutheran, who will play in the nightcap against Oak Hill. Noah George putting it up, but first, offensive foul against Bella Vista.
that when they were trying to run some off-ball movement for Noah George to come off, and big fella picked up the foul, trying to get him open.
A jump ball called with 1.8 on the clock. And there's an incredulous Darius Acuff who can't believe it.
Yeah, I might be with him on that one. I don't think there was much. I mean,
Didn't seem
Bella
like a
Vista
tie.
was able to get their hands on the ball, but not for long enough.
Quickly down the floor, Sadler gets it up. Nice set piece, but shot no good, and we go to halftime with Bella Vista, the first place team in the EYBL Scholastic, leading IMG by 1. 10 minutes away from the third quarter, a top 10 national matchup, the Bears and the Ascenders, when we come back. You're watching Nike EYBL Scholastic at the Bob McKillop Invitational on League Ready. Juicy top 10 matchup today between Bella Vista and IMG. Razor thin in the first half. 1 point game with first place Bella Vista on top. Let's take a look at some of our first half stats. And Trey, the rebounding battle is about the opposite of what we expected.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, it's the exact opposite of the averages too for both of these teams. I mean, usually Bella Vista is plus 10, they're minus 10. On the other side, you have IMG, who's usually minus 10, that's plus 10. How about that?
And three-point shooting a little ugly on both sides. We've seen perimeter lockdown defense to the max, especially Bella Vista on Darius Acuff.
Yeah, they've done a really good job of doing their work early before the play even starts. They're denying the ball. They're being physical with them. We even saw them pick up a foul off the ball. I love that because you're setting the tone. And as a scorer and as an offensive-minded player, when you're getting bumped and bruised like that, it makes it so difficult on the offensive end.
Yeah, a lot of bumping, a lot of bruising as seventh-year head coach Sean McKillop looks to figure things out for IMG in the second half. How do you get a guy like Acuff going when there's clearly so much defensive emphasis on him?
Well, I think you have to get him off the ball, and I think that's where I go again to Beamer. I think you put the ball in his hands and let him create a little bit, and then that way the attention comes off Acuff a little bit, and then you get him going. But it's going to have to start with the other guys because right now all the attention, all 5 guys are focused on Acuff.
Acuff 9 points on 4 of 12 shooting in the first half. They've got Pitt on him as he distributes and Jamal Jones finishes.
And that was a great cut from Jones. As that ball is going towards the baseline, you get that weak side cut from the wing because a lot of times eyes are on the ball. Great job moving without the basketball from Jones.
Sadiq White with the foul. You could feel his pain as he's whistled for his third. And foul trouble against Sadiq White, not something IMG wants to get involved in. Syracuse bound forward stays in the game now as Sadler drills a 3. His second.
That was a great read from Sadler. Sadler was actually supposed to come to the left wing. He stopped his cut early as he was coming off that stagger because the defense cheated and tried to go around the screen through the backside.
And then Sadler picks Sadiq White's pocket. He gets fouled by White. A huge call, which is number 4
oh, man.
on Sadiq.
I think that's a learning experience for White. When you have 3 fouls in that situation where there's a live ball turnover, you're getting back on defense. You just have to go vertical, and if he makes it, you got to shake his hand. You cannot pick up your 4th foul in that situation. Too valuable to your team.
And now he sends Sadler back to the line, who has a game-high 11 points. And as expected, White to the bench. So for Coach Brandon Rosenthal, now you no longer have to account for one of the best big men in the EYBL, and the Syracuse-bound Sadiq White.
Be fun to watch him and Pound Anthony next year playing for Syracuse.
If you're a Syracuse fan, this is a great day to stick with us on League Ready. You get Sadiq White for the afternoon game, and then Kyan Anthony and Luhai in the nightcap. That's another juicy matchup later. Oak Hill against Luhai.
Yeah, a lot of talent on both sides. Guys who can put the ball in the hole at a high level. As we see Acuff get downhill. Maybe a questionable one as he tried to draw some contact, but nonetheless was able to draw the foul.
So back to the charity stripe. Darius Acuff Jr. And you cannot leave points at the line in a tight one like this.
I mean, you look at the stats over his last 2 games. He's taken 23 field goal attempts. Whoa!
What a putback for Jamal Jones. That'll help clean up the mess.
Absolutely. And again, it's Bella Vista not doing a good job on the glass.
They've given up now 12 offensive rebounds only with 2 of their own. Here's Pitt, the baseline drive. Out to George for 3, left it short. Jamal Jones the board. And then he just throws it away. Kind of messy for IMG. Now 6 turnovers for Coach McAloon's team.
And on that one, Acuff had already ran the floor, so there was not a guard available to get the ball to without Beamer on the floor.
Here's Pitt. Tucum. Inside, back out to George. He spins, weaves in, and left it strong. Jones finds Foster. In transition, Foster with an offensive foul. Jayon Pitt takes the charge.
On that one, if you're Jones, you have to have some sort of wiggle, a Euro step. You can't just go straight into the body of a defender that's set. And how about that charge taken? Bella Vista again putting their body on the line.
We're seeing IMG start to struggle. 2 turnovers in a row. And they've missed 8 of their last 9 shots from downtown. Down low to Diem. In a tie-up with Jones and jump ball.
And that was a really good job of Stagg. He was able to stop the ball handler going downhill and Sadler and then get back to his man to get in front. Good pick and roll defense from the big fella.
Now Noah George with a throw in. And a foul goes against IMG, and it's Kareem Stagg. Whistled for his 3rd. Now there's already foul trouble as they've got Sadiq White on the bench with 4. Now Stagg with 3. Pitt the spin. Left it strong and rebound. Tips out to George. Big offensive rebound for Bella Vista. Now Diem with an 18-footer. Offensive board again. Pitt, George for 3. Short. And Trey Bella Vista can't find anything from behind the arc.
That's a good look from George. A little bit of a relocation 3 off of the offensive rebounds where he puts himself in position to get that open catch and shoot look. He's not able to knock it down. Those are the ones you have to make, especially going into the next level. Open catch and shoot 3s.
IMG now within a point. Acuff, a long 3, and rebounded by Diem.
As he gets to the next level, that's going to be a huge shot because of his playmaking ability and how shifty he is. Teams are going to go underneath.
Alley-oop for Diem. And the big man rattles the rim as the whistle blows. And a technical foul called on Diem. So maybe hanging on the rim too long or a little too snazzy of a celebration. He's saying, what the heck?
This is just good pace from Sadler.
Oh, he's yapping. He's yapping at Kareem Stagg. You got to watch your mouth, right?
It wasn't long, but it must have been, must have had a little bit of a little animosity there.
And Acuff makes him pay with 2. It doesn't matter how many words you say,
Yes.
you just can't say.
It's what you say.
Right.
And I'm sure it wasn't TV appropriate.
So as a result, Diem on the bench, and his coaches will make sure he gets the message. So here goes Quinones for IMG. Foster throws it in a no man's land, and a costly 7th Ascenders turnover.
And that play was for Acuff, but again, Rokeem Green doing a great job of doing his work early, not allowing Acuff to get the catch off the double stagger screen. It's just great defense and great responsibility to be able to take away the leading scorer of this league.
Pitt going to work, fouled by Stagg, and Trey, that's 4 fouls on Kareem Stagg. If they call him for it, might be Chase Foster. And it does go against Foster, but still, that's his fourth.
And I love what Bella Vista is doing on the offensive end. They're getting that ball inside, and they're making IMG's bigs guard. And because of the girth and the strength that Bella Vista has on that front line, IMG is having a foul.
Here's a guy with the strength and the girth. 6'7", 220-pound senior, Jayon Pitt. A lot of West Coast offers pouring in his way. Oregon, Cal, Arizona State, and a few others. Acuff for three. Got it. His second triple.
Something wasn't talked out on that cross screen. IMG loves to run those quick cross screens in early offense situations, and didn't talk that one out. Acuff was wide open.
Sadler just barely missing in the corner. And then a frustration foul against Austin Good. Well, you said it, Trey. Best player on the floor tonight is Darius Acuff Jr. The triple as we take a timeout.
Sure, I was the first pick, the rookie to watch, and the back-to-back All-Star. But to get even better, I had to get real with myself. I got real about how I showed up. I got real about how I trained. I got real about what I ate. The results, something about this season, man, it just feels different.
No, they really don't. Nike EYBL Scholastic is brought to you by Nike. This is Winning Basketball and delivered by Chipotle. Real ingredients, real flavor. Chipotle for real. We are back at the Bob McKillop Invitational on Long Island, and Trey, a lot of the story today is how do you defend Darius Acuff Jr.? 14 points on 14 field goal attempts. What's your assessment been of him?
Well, I think he is a guy that has so much talent, so good with the basketball in his hands. And, you know, I'm thinking with him, with John Calipari next year, you know, being a lead guard at Arkansas, and you know, teams are going to understand, and scouting is going to understand how good he is with the basketball. So they're going to try to make him a shooter. And so that's going to be something that he's going to have to continue to prove, that he can shoot the ball at a high clip consistently from the three-point line. And he's also going to have to probably play a little bit off ball, because at the collegiate level, you're not able to be able to play so much isolation one-on-one basketball. So he's going to have a healthy diet of off-ball offense and on-ball.
Off the ball now as Peck goes to work. Now on the ball, Acuff. Back near half court. Works off a screen. Lost it briefly. Jones able to clean up. 5 on the shot clock. Beamer. Hard step back 3. And a really choppy offensive possession. Quick in transition. Here goes Bella Vista. A wide open Sadler. Drills the 3.
And that's a great pitch ahead, because as that ball is thrown into the painted area, IMG's defense collapses, and that allows the open 3 from Sadler.
15 points for Miles Sadler as Beamer goes downhill. Runs into a foul, and Austin Good is charged with the foul.
That was a good stampede drive there from Beamer, where you're already moving as the ball is coming to you, kind of to give you a leg up with momentum, and able to get by the initial defender and Euro to draw the foul.
Beamer now with 3 points. How do you define stampede drive?
Well, it's something that was kind of originated in Europe, where a lot of times there's a pick and roll happening, and if you're playing off the ball, you can already start to move towards the basket from the three-point line as the ball is coming to you. And then so when the defender is closing out, he doesn't have the advantage to close you off because you're already going towards the basket. It's almost starting your attack early before the ball comes.
Right, a little bit of a head start.
Yeah.
Tough to defend. IMG defending now as Pitt has it. Pitt for 3. He splashes it. The big man from Toronto puts him up 4.
Not his game. Only 1 of 3 in the Scholastic League from 3, but now 2 of 4. Good job of reading the defense.
Acuff's drive gets stuck. And the Ascenders will keep it here.
Another thing with Acuff, with his usage rate and how much he has the ball in his hands, something that he's going to learn at the next level is you got to be able to play both ends of the floor. And when you play against teams at the collegiate level, they have guys at all 3 of those guard positions that can go get a bucket. So you have to be able to conserve your energy a little bit. And, you know, not that his defensive effort has been bad here today, but you could tell he's definitely taking breathers on that end of the floor.
And as a result, Bella Vista's guards, and most notably Miles Sadler, have gone off. Picking his way through. Neto into Ascender hands. Acuff fouled intentionally by George. And more free throws coming for the 5-star guard.
The challenge with Bella Vista is outside of Sadler, they don't have a ton of guards that feel comfortable playmaking from the perimeter and getting downhill as drivers. So what happens a lot of times is you have guys that are more finishers being playmakers, and that leads to turnovers, which is why a game ago they had the 16 turnovers and 9 assists, and here today they've turned the ball over quite a bit as well.
And Acuff and company making him pay. 17 points now for Darius Acuff, who has now left 3 points at the charity stripe. 100 seconds left in the third, and here goes Aguinaldo Neto. By the way, Sadiq White still in foul trouble with 4. He's on the bench as Bella Vista goes with another costly turnover.
Yeah, I mean, just on that one, that's just a hard time initiating offense. And without Sadler on the floor, somebody's going to have to step up as the playmaker.
Acuff looking for Peck. Instead, he found Rokeem Green. Green, George. A zone look for IMG. And Osiri rebounds the Green miss.
IMG in a 2-3 zone here.
Looking to pick his way through. It's Green, the step back. 3 is good.
Some great relocation threes from Green as the defense is closing out. You get a shot fake. Back in my day, you would go for a mid-range. In today's basketball, you just take a side step and shoot another 3.
In today's basketball, what's a mid-range? All we know is that shot.
A low percentage shot that's been banned by analytics.
Not allowed. Second chance here for Bella Vista, holding on to a 4-point lead. And they'll take some time here with an 11-second differential. 3 for Green. Money!
Wow. What a play from Bella Vista where you get a pass and a pass back, and then someone sets a screen on the man in Green's area, and he flared off that thing ready to shoot, locked and loaded.
8 points for Rokeem Green. Now Acuff for Beamer. The 3. Not there at the buzzer. And we go to the 4th. Bella Vista. A 6-0 run over the final minute and a half. And you said one of the most efficient players in this league is this man, Rokeem Green.
Yeah, Green is just a lights-out shooter. And it's a guy that I think probably earned more playing time on the offensive end and can really get it done, can really shoot the basketball, and has shown an ability to put the ball on the floor, as we mentioned before, 13 points per game over his last 3.
It was a 1-point Bella Vista lead at halftime, Trey. +5 in the third quarter. What did the Bears do to reassert their grip on this?
Well, they've done a really good job of attacking IMG's weak spots, especially with their size and utilizing their strength by getting the ball to the post, driving closeouts, attacking the basket, challenging, this thin IMG lineup. And so I think it's been the paint points that have really been the difference, especially in that third quarter.
The rebounding battle today has told an interesting story. IMG normally -9 on the boards, one of the worst rebounding teams in the EYBL. They're +9 on the boards today, but not aided by the fact that Sadiq White will start this quarter on the bench in foul trouble with 4 as they come out with Peck and Stagg to lead the front court. But Darius Acuff Jr., star of the show, leading scorer in the EYBL with 25 points a game. He's sitting at 17 on just 5 of 15 shooting.
He's been able to get his points up from the free throw line, left a couple on the board, but because of some of the turnovers from Bella Vista, he's been able to get out in transition and draw a few fouls.
So here we go. 8 minutes left between the number 5 team in the country and number 8 Bella Vista, who actually ranks ahead of IMG and everyone in the EYBL standings at 6-1. Stagg on Osaruyi. On the baseline to Quinones for 3. Second 3 ball for Quinones. Now with Miles Sadler on the bench. George and Green leading the offense. Neto to George. And there's Green. He's got nearly 7-foot Cody Peck on him. George, the flip. Good for 3. And a little line drive boarded by Peck.
Not one paint touch from Bella Vista on that one.
And then swiped away by Good. Here goes Green. In transition, the teardrop puts them up 6.
Everything's just been so challenging for Acuff on the offensive end. He's been able to get his numbers
with the left hand. So smooth by Jamal Jones.
They need more of that. They need other guys on the offensive end to be confident and assertive.
Step back off for Green, maybe a bit rushed. Acuff picking his way through. Down to Stagg. Hook shot off, but fouled. It's number 2 on Osaruyi.
Now it's good probing from Acuff, a little change of pace into the painted area. Because of how talented of a scorer he is, was able to draw 2, get the ball to his big fella and Stagg. And Stagg could have maybe taken his time just a little bit on that hook shot, rushed it. He's so strong. Could have been able to probably just comfortably went up for it off the left shoulder and probably got the and one if he would have taken his time a little bit.
After fouling, the young Osaruyi takes a seat. And Kareem Stagg bound for Georgia, so he'll play no longer with Darius Acuff, but against his teammate. Acuff bound for Arkansas. So Stagg hits them both. We got a 2-point game here at the Bob McKillop Invitational. Bella Vista, first place in the EYBL against 5th-ranked IMG. Sadler shimmies in, blocked by Peck, and for cleanup, it's Diem.
And that's basically an assist for Sadler. It's a great job of splitting the pick and roll. And because he had the advantage, 3 guys are there trying to get a contest, and that leaves 2 other guys open to get the rebounds.
Quinones is red hot. Another triple. 3 for 4 from long distance, 11 points. For the junior from Puerto Rico.
And the rest of the team, 2 of 16 from 3.
On the roll, Jayon Pitt with an offensive foul. Acuff wearing it.
And that's always a great sign for your ball club when your best player is putting his body on the line. Great help side defense there. He came over, was able to take that charge.
Number 1 point guard in the class, sacrificing his body and then giving the Ascenders the lead.
And again, it's just the change of pace and tempo that he plays with. He can burst at any moment, so you cannot relax as a defender, but he makes it so hard because he's always relaxed.
The floater, good for Sadler. When he has a little bit of space, it looks so beautiful. Swatted away. Tucum on the rejection of Acuff.
Yeah, we're seeing 2 of the better guards in this league in terms of getting downhill, changing pace, being able to kind of
There's Kareem Stagg off the feed from Acuff.
I was saying with these guards, I mean, they just do a good job of kind of manipulating the defense in terms of their pace and being able to have different finishes at the rim.
The pick and roll action down to Pitt off the glass as Bella Vista retakes the lead.
That was a good job of Pitt playing off of 2 feet. The help side was there, but he was able to take that escape dribble to create space and go around the help.
And now Acuff, kissing it off the glass, gives him 21 points. In the corner, it's Diem against Peck. Peck blocks him. Diem right back up. And it ends up with Beamer.
Diem, you got to use your shoulder a little bit to create some space. You can't go straight through a 7-footer.
Darius Acuff with 21 points, hits a teardrop, and IMG has owned the 4th quarter.
Well, you know the difference, Sam. Brokeem Green is not in the game.
Without Green, some defensive breakdowns. IMG has hit 7 of its last 8 shots. And the star of the show, center of it all, Darius Acuff Jr., 23 points. His latest work of art takes us into a timeout.
You're really making all of this by hand.
Oh yeah, the avocados are hand mashed, the chips are hand tossed, and everything is made fresh.
You make it fresh every day.
Yes, every day. The Chipotle way is we make it fresh every day.
Sounds delicious.
Brisket is back at Chipotle. Seasoned, smoked, seared, spiced, sauced, bold, and guacced. It's a whole new kind of brisket done the Chipotle way.
It's a 2-possession game down the stretch here at the Bob McKillop Invitational. And let's look at the EYBL Scholastic standings. Trey, Bella Vista still with only 1 loss. Big test in the next 3 minutes, 50 seconds, though.
Yeah, let's look at these standings. I mean, maybe a little bit of surprise to see Oak Hill at the bottom, led by Mbako, and you have Brewster Academy right there, led by Sebastian Wilkins, averaging almost 14 per game. So a lot of talent across this league.
Tons of talent, elite talent.
Elite.
Here in the EYBL, we're coming down the wire in a top flight matchup between first place Bella Vista and 5th ranked IMG. Sadler to Pitt, 4-3. Not this time. Rebound hauled in by Quinones.
And that was great help defense from Stagg. He completely left Pitt, knowing that Pitt is not a shooter, and was able to help on that roll in the pick and roll action.
Now here goes Stagg to Acuff with a game high 23. Acuff taking his time, very methodical. Shot clock winding though. Time to make the move. And Acuff nails a three.
And as a scorer, that basket looks like an ocean, and it's started with the downhill drives. When you see that ball go through the rim, you feel like you can do anything on the floor and just able to create something out of nothing on that one.
Foul on Quinones will keep it here. They'll say Acuff had a foot on the line, so just a long distance two. 25 points now on 20 field goal attempts, so efficiency starting to climb.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate for Bella Vista because they did a really good job for about 21 minutes, but it's been the last 5 that's Acuff's been able to get off. That's going to probably be the difference maker.
Good left it short, rebound to White, who's back in the game with 4 fouls. But 2.5 minutes left, you might as well use them. Acuff, the drive, so smooth, but strong. Stagg fighting for the rebound, and he wins the battle. So we'll stay here with IMG.
You got to give IMG's complimentary pieces a ton of credit. I mean, Acuff has the ball in his hands probably 80% of the possessions, but those other guys are active and crashing the glass, being ready to shoot, being ready to make plays off of Acuff. It's not an easy thing to do, especially at maybe your local high school. You're used to being the man, and now all of a sudden you're playing with the top 5 guard in the country.
In the corner, it's a 3 ball for Quinones, who had hit 3 in a row before that miss. Bella Vista needs buckets. Offensive board here for Pitt. Approaching 2 to go. Pitt, his team down 5, finds Green. Teardrop makes it a 1-possession game.
And that's the best time to cut, is when a double team comes, because now you're outnumbered. The defense is outnumbered, and you can usually find an open lane to find yourself open. Great job by Green there.
Under 2 minutes now, as an offensive foul gives Bella Vista a chance to tie it. Kareem Stagg for the moving screen. So now Brandon Rosenthal's team with a golden opportunity.
You have a lot of different options of where you can go to offensively.
A little disjointed to start. Here goes Pitt downhill. Pitt blocked by Stagg, out of bounds with 7 on the shot clock. Kareem Stagg using his length.
Stagg and Pitt, that's not the typical high school matchup. I mean, these guys, have the size of NBA players. I mean, you look at their arms and their body types. It's a lot of force going back and forth at each other.
Stagg 6'8", 224. Pitt 6'7", 220. A lot of muscle. Osaruyi. Off to Sadler, the 3. Can't tie it there. Offensive board, Pitt. Pitt right back up with the left hand, and it's a 1-point game.
I thought that shot from Sadler was a little bit forced, especially when you have such an advantage inside, but nonetheless, great job from the big fella following it up, and now we got ourselves a ball game.
This is where you want Acuff to shine. 25 points and under a minute to go. A whistle. George was on the ball.
Looked like he had his hands.
They're going to get him for it.
He had his hands on him the whole possession. That's a good call by the official there.
Oh, and then he took an inadvertent elbow. We get a crystal clear shot of that as George sets up. IMG looking for a big win against the first place team in the EYBL. Acuff, here comes the double. Acuff rumbles through it and finds White for the dunk.
And if you double team, the worst thing you can do is allow him as the guy that's coming to set the trap to get around you. And that's exactly what happened. And again, you're going to be outnumbered on the backside there, 3-4, and Acuff makes the right read.
White has barely played in the second half in the game with 4 fouls. But it's nice when you're IMG. Acuff gets doubled, and you have the Syracuse-bound big man for the flush.
Yeah, Acuff just so under control and is able to turn on the jets when he wants. Just has such great body control. And as the double team came, he was able to just kind of get around the guy that was double teaming, and then he had that backside advantage and found White for the dunk.
So now in a 3-point game, Bella Vista needs a 3 to tie. Still well over 30 seconds though, so you're just going quick shot, whatever you can get?
I always believe in these situations, is the worst thing you can do is shoot a contested tough 2. So unless I have an open layup, that's my first option, but if I don't have an open layup, that's when I probably go for 3.
Well, they've got shooters. Miles Sadler, Noah George, each with a couple triples today. Rokeem Green, one of the most efficient players in the league. So 3-point game, here we go. Sadler.
Yep, this is a good read.
An open 3, and he ties it.
I love it. You try to get the 2, and then as soon as you get a comfortable looking 3, you take advantage of it. Big play from Sadler.
And then Brandon Rosenthal calls timeout. So IMG will have 21 seconds and no shot clock. Take me through this.
See, what happens a lot of times is guys will try to go up and force a 2 because they've been taught to extend the game. But I always feel like unless I have a wide open 2, the worst thing you can do is take a tough 2. So Sadler does the right thing there, keeps his dribble alive, probes around, kind of like a Steve Nash probe. What he did a lot of times is he was probing around looking for Amari Stoudemire, keeps the dribble alive, gets to the corner, gets his feet set, and knocks it down.
Saw a lot of Nash in that. I can almost picture the orange and purple Suns jersey. Miles Sadler, what a day.
You always have those like TikTok jokes where like you would have like the dribbler just kind of go around and around the basket. That's what Nash used to do. He was probing, making the right read, and that's exactly what Sadler did. Is he went under the basket, didn't have anything, kept that dribble alive.
And Sadler now with 20 points. Okay, so if you're IMG, Darius Acuff is your man here. 25 points.
Do everything in your power
has it.
to not have him touch the basketball.
Tie game, 6 seconds left. Acuff with it. Acuff driving. Acuff the miss. Board for Stagg, throws it up, and we are headed to overtime. A 3 for Miles Sadler with 21 seconds left. Sends us to OT, and what a close for one of the best shooters and really best complete players in the EYBL. Bella Vista, they were not afraid down the stretch.
Yeah, and how about Sadler? I mean, that takes a lot of guts. You're down 3. A lot of times you're taught to go for that 2 and be able to keep that dribble alive. There's a little bit of a contest on that 3-pointer, but was able to knock it down. Got to give this Bella Vista team a ton of credit down the stretch, coming back and forcing overtime.
And also, what a great job they did on Darius Acuff.
Yes.
That last possession is tricky defensively.
Yeah, Rokeem Green did a really good job of making him catch the ball at almost half court. And then you pressure the ball, because I think the worst thing you can give up in that situation is a pull-up jumper. Make him go to the basket and finish over the trees, and that's exactly what Green did, and now we have overtime.
And able to do it without fouling as we head to overtime between first place Bella Vista and the 5th-ranked team in America, IMG. Darius Acuff right in the thick of it, and he'll be in the thick of it in overtime. What do you need if you're IMG from your point guard?
I mean, it's just a continuation of what he did in the last, 4 or 5 minutes, where he got going offensively. You need your best guys to take over, and a lot of times that requires tough shot making, which Acuff is more than capable of doing.
Acuff 25 points. Sadler with 20 for Bella Vista. And it was Sadler with the big bucket three in the corner with 21 seconds left to push this game into overtime. What a game. We told you it would be a treat, and it is to open the Bob McKillop Invitational.
There's talent on this floor, Sam, but there's also guys that are winners and guys who do the little things along with their talent, and they're going to have great collegiate careers.
Here's one of the best juniors in the country, Sadler. Off to Pitt. Back outside, Osaruyi strong on the three. Rebound Jones, and then he's fouled right away by Green. A little foul trouble for IMG might be a factor in overtime. Sadiq White, Kareem Stagg, and Chase Foster all have 4 fouls. Stagg and White are in the game now.
If you're Osaruyi there, that is not the time to take your first three-pointer of the season in overtime.
He's on the ball now. Stagg finds Acuff. With 25 points already, Acuff, a little shake and bake. Quinones, nice feed. White, the hook shot.
And White did a really good job of not just being a bystander. He set a screen for Quinones, and then both defenders went with Quinones, and he found himself wide alone. It's a great job by White there.
Pitt going to work. Pitt with the hook shot right in the face of White.
Good job of Pitt faking to the left and then being able to go right back to that left shoulder and finish with the right hand.
Now Quinones. For a three, it's Jones, boarded by Pitt.
Jones on that one was already going to the offensive glass, wasn't ready to shoot.
Now Sadler with the shake and bake.
Man, that looked like Allen Iverson on that one. My goodness.
Was that out of bounds off IMG? No, I think they'll keep it with the Ascenders. So, back to your point, Allen Iverson. We've got Sadler now checking a Steve Nash box and an Allen Iverson box.
That makes me feel old because all those guys played in the early, mid-2000s, and there's some younger fans probably know the name, but
you're not
aren't
giving
familiar
me
with their game.
Now, if you were truly old, it would be like a Pete Maravich, John Havlicek. You're not aging yourself too much. Acuff, step back, long three. Maybe not his shot there. So a Bella Vista team that trailed almost the entire fourth quarter, up two with the ball and then giving it away. Acuff ahead to White, who's hacked.
Ooh, yep.
Paul Osaruyi with the bear hug, and he'll make White earn it.
And see, that's a young player with good intentions, right? Trying not to give up an easy layup, but in that situation, you're so far behind the play. It's clearly going to be an intentional where you're not going for the ball at all.
And so they'll give free throws and the ball to IMG. But Sadiq White leaving an important one at the stripe. On the season, just a 53% free throw shooter. So from that perspective, not a bad idea by Osaruyi. But now Ascenders get the ball. Bella Vista 6-1 in the EYBL. First place. Massive test this weekend. Let's see if they can pass the first one. Stagg looking for their leader, and Acuff is fouled. So another Bella Vista foul. Oh no, they get a travel. It's a travel on Stagg before he got it to Acuff. So a back-breaking turnover there for the Ascenders.
Again, it's Green, just the denial. He thought that Acuff was going to be open, Stagg did, and walked with the ball a little bit before he was able to get it to him.
Sadler threads it in, and Pitt with the finish.
I mean, he reads pick and rolls like a veteran guard at the collegiate level. And no matter what size you are, if you're able to read pick and rolls as a guard, you're going to have success.
Acuff draws a foul. He was going up with the left hand. Still no points in overtime for Darius Acuff.
It's rare when you see somebody with such great strength in the upper body, but also so slippery.
Right.
In terms of their ability to get around defenders, to slip past you, to change pace. Kind of reminds you a little bit of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in terms of kind of some of the unorthodox things that he does once he gets into that painted area.
Now you're not aging yourself.
There we go. Yeah, there's a good comp.
NBA MVP frontrunner down in Oklahoma City. And Acuff.
And for the record, not his game, but just in terms of
right.
his finishing ability and his craftiness in the painted area.
And he does it so methodically. Now with 27 points, but his team down 1, under a minute to go in overtime. Green to Pitt. Trying to get it to Sadler, finally does. Now Sadler doubled in the corner. And it's intercepted. Stagg on the steal. Acuff through contact. Will go to the line and a chance to give his team the lead.
On that defensive possession, as we see Acuff doing what he does best and getting downhill. How about the defensive effort from the Ascenders as they trapped Sadler? They were able to have good help side coverage where Sadler wasn't able to get a pass off, as we saw in the previous possession on the pick and roll, and was kind of stuck in that corner and was forced to throw it away.
And we are tied. We got a whistle and a timeout. So with a 9-second differential, Bella Vista ball. And if you're Brandon Rosenthal, what are you thinking? What are you preaching in this huddle?
Well, I want to probably get the ball in Sadler's hands again. Maybe get a two-man action between him and Pitt. But I think the most important thing is making sure to get the ball in the top of the key area so that he has more room to penetrate and create space and be able to get downhill, and then he can make the decision of whether he keeps it himself or he's able to get to this big fella and Pitt.
Pitt with 18 and 5. Sadler 22 points and the 3 ball with 21 seconds left in the fourth quarter. That sent us to overtime. This has been a classic between a defensive-minded Bella Vista team and an offensive, explosive team in IMG. Here we go. Big possession in overtime. Sadler controls up top. Now Green with a quiet second half. Osarugi. Sadler. Sadler, the teardrop is good. And Bella Vista the lead at 11 seconds.
How many times have we seen him split the pick and roll? If you're a big, you have to understand that's exactly what he wants to do. On that one, Stagg did not connect with Quinones as he was guarding the ball. When you're guarding a pick and roll, your feet almost have to be touching the person who's guarding the basketball and the big that is coming up to hedge. Otherwise, the guard has the ability to split. That's exactly what Sadler did.
Now Bella Vista setting up defensively. As IMG plans the offensive attack, Sean McAloon has had to deal with some foul trouble today. But he's still got Stagg, he's still got White, and most importantly, for this crucial possession, he's got Darius Acuff. A game that IMG controlled for much of the second half, fell apart late, and now with 8 seconds left in overtime, here goes Acuff. Goes downhill and hits the layup. Quick timeout for Bella Vista with 1.9. Wow. A blur.
I mean, that is so impressive. His ability to stay calm under pressure. The clock is against him, and it's the change of pace once again at the half-court line, and there's just no help side. And he's able to finish. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that Acuff down the stretch has made some really good passes. And so the weak side defenders are a little bit more hesitant to provide help. And that clears the lane for Acuff with the clutch bucket.
Wow, just a blur down the floor. As they do put a little bit of time on the clock. So 2.3 now for Bella Vista. Just sort of sorting things through. Sean McKillop looks pretty livid with the official as they figure this out. So Acuff now with 30 points. We really see him at his best, Trey, when he's in open court.
Yep.
And now for Bella Vista, you expect the ball in Miles Sadler's hands?
Absolutely. I mean, Sadler's having a great game himself. 24 points, 5 assists. So I'm putting the ball in his hands. He's got 2 seconds, probably one dribble to make a play. And
there goes Sadler. The dribble, the shot, whistle blows. And clock stops with .1. Official heading over to the scorer's table. We see him looking up at the scoreboard. So maybe some sort of technical difficulty. And now up to .4. They say sideline inbound now for Bella Vista. That's enough time for a lightning quick catch and shoot. And a quick timeout. So .4. You have enough time.
yeah,
Barely.
Quick catch and shoot. Get a clean catch and get it up right away. No hesitations.
Well, if you're just tuning in, this one has been an absolute dandy. IMG controlled most of the fourth quarter, but a late spurt led by Miles Sadler with a corner three-pointer pushed us into overtime. And then a couple moments ago, Darius Acuff Jr. coast to coast, tied it at 77. Now 0.4 of a second left. And IMG will inbound. So Ascenders can win it with a bucket. Felipe Quinones looking in. Lobs it for Stagg, and we are headed to double overtime.
Free basketball, baby. Let's go.
Free basketball ×2. And this opener of the Bob McKillop Classic is turning into a classic. Trey, we've seen this clash of styles not really come to a head in the way we expected. It's been a battle of these point guards, though. Darius Acuff and Miles Sadler, just so entertaining.
Yeah, both of these guys are so good with the ball in their hands, whether it's in pick and roll, whether it's in isolation basketball. They seem to make the right read in almost every possession. It's just such a treat to watch.
All right, so in these games, playing a lot of games and not so many days, legs get tired,
Yep.
You're young, you're not conditioned yet. How do you stay fresh in double overtime?
Well, I think it's a manage of, you know, the tempo of the game. You have to be able to, in certain situations, especially when you're in double overtime, be able to slow down. And then also just getting breaks on the defensive end. At this level, because not everybody's a playmaker, you have the ability to be off the ball and try to kind of catch your breath, you know, be able to get some wind in your lungs and then be able to make plays on the offensive end if you're a playmaker.
And there's a playmaker, Miles Sadler, in the thick of everything today. Leading Bella Vista with 24 points, including the game-tying 3 to send us to overtime 1. On the flip side, Darius Acuff, 30 points, and a game-tying layup to send us to overtime 2. Bella Vista wins the tip thanks to Diem. We're underway in double OT. And they're going to give it to IMG. So some sort of issue. means it's the sender's ball. And Acuff will throw it in. All right, here we go. Start of double overtime. What's the most important thing for IMG offensively in this final frame? Maybe final frame.
I think it's for other guys to be ready off of anything that happens with Acuff on the ball, because he's going to have the ball in his hands, and there's going to be help side, just like that, and you got to be able to play off the catch.
And Quinones picks through, gets fouled by Diem.
At this point of the game, as the tempo slows down, you're going up against set defenses, and so that's going to be less driving lanes and opportunities for Acuff. And that's where other guys have to be ready to play make off the catch, just like Quinones did there.
And he hits his first free throw. IMG 15 of 20 from the charity stripe today. Bella Vista has only shot 13 free throws, making 8 of them. So a heart stopper today for Sean McAloon's team as they look for a signature win against Bella Vista. Remember, folks, this is just the first of 3 today. Girls basketball action immediately following this one. Paul VI against host Lehigh. And then boys nightcap, Lehigh and Oak Hill. A couple popcorn grabbing matchups still to come. Although this one's hard to beat. So Austin Good to the bench. And Rokeem Green in, someone who I think we're kind of waiting to get going.
Yeah.
A very quiet 12 points in 18 minutes as IMG squeaks ahead by 2. Here goes Sadler. Nice feed to Diem. Back out to the perimeter. He's looking for George. Now the ball in their best player's hands. Sadler, 4-3. Wow. Bella Vista retakes the lead.
What can't this young man do on the floor? And comes off the ball screen, locked and loaded. It's a great read and great confidence from Sadler.
And then an IMG turnover gives it right back. Well, this second half has belonged to number 1 in black.
It's a great setup with the left-handed in and out to shake the defender that was guarding him on the ball. That gives him enough space to comfortably get into rhythm and knock down the pull-up tray.
Can Bella Vista keep its lead? It's a 3 for Osaruyi. His first made triple of the season.
And his second attempt, all here in overtime. Just saving it for the best moments. I see you, big fella.
A little trick up his sleeve. Now Acuff, a fall-away 3. Really tough shot.
And here's where depth becomes a factor. I mean, IMG really goes with 6 guys, whereas Bella Vista goes 8-9 deep. So these Bella Vista starters are a little bit more fresh.
Yeah, 9 Bella Vista players have gone 13 minutes or more. Sadler on the baseline, now with 27 points. And Sean McAloon calls timeout. It's a 2-possession game, and Sadler absolutely has taken over.
I mean, for his best offers to be Weber State, Cal State Northridge. I understand he has Arizona State and Cal on there as well. It's the young man. I haven't seen every guard in the country, but I'd be hard-pressed to find more guards that can do the things that he can do at the high stage, at the high school level. Can shoot it, can get downhill, can pass it, can drive it. A young man that should be on everybody's radar across the country.
He's ranked number 37 in his class as a junior. Not sure we can find 36 players more complete than Sadler. Look at him taking over late against Darius Acuff Jr. and IMG. Now a huge possession for the Ascenders. Quinones looking for Stagg, it's poked away.
And that's where the fatigue kicks in, because Stagg could have done a better job of sealing off his defender behind him. He kind of just stands there and reaches for the ball, and Great job by Bella Vista taking advantage on the defensive end.
Senders look out of gas. Sadler's going to bleed some clock. Green. The flip. Now Pitt driving inside on Stagg. Fall away shot off. Offensive board. Osaruyi coming in.
And he looks fresh. It looks like a first quarter for him.
Acuff. Too strong and an 8-point Bella Vista lead with free throws to come. In a marathon game, it's the depth of Bella Vista that has powered them ahead. Paul Osaruyi, one of 9 guys who have played meaningful minutes for Brandon Rosenthal. You mentioned IMG, really just going 6 deep. I mean, Acuff, he can do a lot. He can't do it all.
Yeah, you need depth, especially when you're playing the best of the best. And IMG has 6 guys that they lean on heavily. And you're in a double overtime game like this, you're going to run out of gas eventually.
It really just last gasp here as Green commits a foul on White.
Charge foul on Bears number 1, Lance Sadler, his second.
How about 88 points today for a Bella Vista team that really doesn't score much? I mean, yes, we've had some extra basketball, but still, they were at 69 after regulation, well above their season average of just over 60. And Sadiq White, Syracuse-bound power forward, makes it an 8-point game.
Number 3, Trey Weaver, number 11, Cody Peck, check into the game.
What would you say is the most underrated part of Sadler's game? It just strikes me that he should be higher on the boards.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think,
what a move
play.
off the back. Nifty way for Pitt to get down the floor. But Sadler.
Yeah, I think for Sadler, it's his awareness and savviness on the floor and the IQ. Because at 5'11", at this level, and as he progresses in his career, you have to have that because you're not going to have the athleticism and size to be able to be effective. But his ability to read pick and rolls, his ability to, not be afraid on the biggest moments, and to be able to shoot the ball the way that he does. I mean, he's a complete player. I mean, there's maybe not one thing that I think that you could say that pinpoint and say that he does amazing, but he just does everything really, really well.
In 33 minutes, he has scored 30 points. Game-tying 3 to send it to overtime, and he has dominated the OT period. Osaruyi, nitpicky foul, extending this one as a 9-point game. And Sadler today, Trey, also 4 big rebounds, 2 steals, 5 assists. He's keyed this team offensively and defensively.
And how about the bounce back? I mean, his last game against Mount Vert, 5 points, 1 of 13 from the field, and 3 turnovers. Over his last 3 games, he had 12 turnovers. It kind of came into this game struggling a little bit, but has done wonders here in what's going to be a big victory for Bella Vista.
And Quinones commits a foul on Sadler, so it'll take us to a timeout as Brandon Rosenthal wants to bring his team together. What are you learning about this Bella Vista team? Come in 6-1, kind of a surprise at first place, but if anything, they're proving they earned it.
If their offense can match, or at least come close to matching what they bring on the defensive end, to me, this is probably the best team in the Scholastic League. I mean, I know record-wise they are, but they've played less games than some other teams in the league. But this is a team that's really struggled, especially in the half-court offensively. But they've shown spurts where they've gotten the ball in Sadler's hands, where he's been able to make plays for himself and for others. And They have multiple guys that can put the ball on the floor in different ways. You have Green, who's a really good shooter. You have Pitt, who's is a bull down there in the block in the painted area. So if they can utilize their strengths on the offensive end, they're going to be a tough beat.
Quinones fouls Sadler. Feels like real sky-high potential for Bella Vista.
Yeah.
Not one of the, what I'd call establishment teams of this league. The Montverdes, the IMGs, the Oak Hills. I mean, Bella Vista, though, at the top, and if they hold on to this one, they'll stand alone in first place at 7-1.
I love the parity in the prep basketball league. I mean, back when I was playing, it was Oak Hill, it's Montverde, but now you have so many prep teams that are competitive and beating some of the quote-unquote powerhouses. I think it's just great for high school basketball overall.
It wins this year for Bella Vista against AZ Compass, Link, Utah Prep, and if they hold on in this one, IMG. Sadler picks the pocket of Stagg. And that should pretty much set this one to bed. Beamer with a foul on George. But in a double overtime thriller, looks like Bella Vista is about to pick up win number 7. This CIA Bella Vista program, still new, just their second year of existence, with the merger of Canyon International Academy, Bella Vista Prep, coming together. And in the second year of existence, everything coming together for Brandon Rosenthal. 9-point game, down the wire, as Acuff and IMG will reset and tomorrow face Oak Hill. One more rebound for Sadler, which will do it. Miles Sadler, 31 points. 91 in double overtime for Bella Vista. Still in first place as the Bears win a thriller in double overtime. Tonight's Nike Player of the Game, easy. Miles Sadler, 31 points, 5 boards, 5 assists. Just sensational, Trey.
I mean, efficient. About 11 makes, only 6 misses. Only 1 miss from inside the 3-point line, 5 assists, 2 steals. Just got it done at all facets of the game.
So Sadler and company take it in spite of 32 points from Darius Acuff. IMG runs out of gas in double OT. Well, coming up next, it's girls basketball action. Mighty Lehigh takes on Paul VI on their home floor. That's coming in about 20 minutes here on League Ready. But for now, Trey Demps, Sam Brief saying so long as Miles Sadler and Bella Vista take the victory.